What's up, folks? We've got no fights this weekend, so I figured I'd give you a breakdown on one of the concepts that you use to capture fights. Today we're looking at chain wrestling. Today I have Isaiah with me. He is a professional boxer, professional MMA fighter. He's going to help me with being my grappling dummy, essentially. So he's going to basically stop takedowns or get taken down, and that's what we're going to do. So today, the goal for us is going to be explaining the concept of chain wrestling in a way that you can use that to be a better chain wrestler if you'd like, or identify that when you're looking at fights, breaking down fights, and you can identify what level someone's wrestling is at. Right, so for starters, we're going to start with this single leg entry. Now, this is my favorite entry. It's what I use a lot, but there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either change levels and go right from here, or you can use a step. You can either change levels and then step, or you can step and then change levels. I'm going to change levels and step through. That's going to give me a little more distance to cover. And the reason I want to do that is because he's a better striker than me, so I want to keep my distance until I'm going for that shot. Now, shooting from far out, you do run into some problems. We're not dealing with that today. Today, we're dealing with the chain wrestling aspect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my level. I'm going to stick my leg through and come to here to get to the single leg. From here, there's a lot of options for me to get the takedown. The first thing I want to try is just blowing through and putting my head into it like almost his armpit and just blowing through like this. If I just power through enough, it'll take him to the mat. However, we've seen guys like Aljamain Sterling do this to Evliv, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes you can't hit that. If they resist it, you then need to corral the leg between your legs and then change angles and whip them around just like that, and you'll bring them to the mat. Come back up to here. So another thing that happens oftentimes is if I go for this and I am here and I try to get the leg in, he gets his leg to the outside and I can't whip him because he can just hop like this, you see? So to change that and make it so he can't just hop, I need to then step through to here and bring him down like so. That's the first step of chain wrestling. Stay tuned, we got more. So for our next one, it's going to be stemming from that single again, as if the opponent instead does the whole like limp knee thing, and you have to reshoot and get to the double leg. That's what we're going to go for this next one. Bear with me if the microphone gets a little muffled. I'm going to need both sides, and I can't really do much about that, so bear with me. We're going to do our best. Actually, you know what? Tell you what, I'm going to try and clip it back here and see if that helps. It might not. All right, so anyway, I'm shooting down for a single leg. I come low, I come in, and I get to a single. But what he's going to do is try to pull up and then limp leg out. From here, I need to come in and get back to a double leg. He sprawls. Once he sprawls, we're now here. And once we're here, because he sprawled the double, sure, the double might work, but since he sprawled, we're now stuck in kind of a neutral exchange. There are a couple options. I can either get to the back and work a takedown from there or get a takedown from the front. For this first example, I'm going to go from the front. I'm going to try to swim my arm under with a pummeling technique. Then I need to drop down, get my head in his chest, hands behind the hips, blast through. If you put your head right in the sternum, pull on the lower back, they're going to fall over. It doesn't even matter if they're stronger than you. Now, if we go back to that neutral position, so he's already sprawled, he's back up here, right? I can also get to the back. Now, to get to the back, what I want to do is use this arm to come up and this arm to come down. So I'm going to go here, come through, and we're going on the back. On the back, I've got a few options. I can just sit down, essentially, if I get my legs in here, and just sit down, and then I just take the back. That's a great option. You don't see that as often in MMA, but it's there. You can do the classic Chandler suplex, where you just pick them up and suplex them. It's not my favorite. But you also got that Dagestani drag down that you see, where you just kind of get here, and you start dragging them to the mat, and you control from here. Those are all really good options from the back. We've got one more stemming from the single leg. Now, this is going to be a different option. It's if they use the approach of just shoving you down. Maybe you have a weak grip on the leg, maybe you didn't get in deep enough, whatever it may be. Maybe you shoot a really low shot and they're too far out. It happens. That's what we're going to cover here. So basically what happens is I come in, I go for my takedown, I get to the single leg. Well, he's going to shove me down. So I've got two options from here. My main one is get this ankle, bring my shoulder into where his knee is, and just pull him through. It works pretty well. It does create a scramble oftentimes, but it's an option. The other one takes a little more athleticism, but essentially I'm going to come in and I'm going to go for the single, and he's going to start shoving down. Instead of me going all the way down, I'm going to take my leg, step out, and come around to the back, and then we can work those same back takedowns from there. Now, this is going to be something that you guys can look for when you're trying to break down which wrestlers in the MMA space are chaining these takedowns. Like you see a lot of guys, and we're going to do this one impromptu, go up to the wall. You see a lot of guys shoot for a takedown, and they're just sitting here on the double leg like this forever. They're not doing anything different. They're just here just trying to work their hands together. They're staying there forever. Now, Is that necessarily bad? No, you're controlling your opponent. You're not chain wrestling per se. If they're switching back and forth between doubles, singles, body locks, yeah. But what you want to look for when you're breaking this down to decide how good someone's wrestling is and how hard it's going to be for people to stop their takedowns, you want to see how many layers deep they can get. Sometimes there's people that are just too good of wrestlers to actually see that. They're going to get you down. But even with guys like Khamzat Chimaev, you see him shoot in on a double leg, doesn't care if he gets it because he's going to go to that body lock and he's going to shift to the back. So for him, it's usually a couple layers deep for him to take down these elite guys like he did to Robert Whittaker. But if you're looking at the takedowns, looking at the stuff like that for the wrestlers, being able to control where the fight takes place, things like that, these are the things you want to identify. And I hope that helps. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed this or maybe learned a little something. I do appreciate it. Shout out to Isaiah. I'm going to link his Instagram in the link below or in the description below. So check that out if you want to see him do some cool stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one.